Welcome back, friends, to another video. Today we're going to be playing some Magic the Gathering Arena. This is the online or digital version of Magic the Gathering. In the previous video we talked about some of my first and favorite cards that I got into when I started playing Magic the Gathering. That was the good old, we had the Geist of St. Traft here, Summoning Angels, 2/2 Spirit to back him up. I also had the Drogskull Captain, making all my spirits untargetable basically, and then some Snapcaster Mage action. These are some of the classic cards when I first started playing Magic that I fell in love with. And what I've done in Magic the Gathering Arena is I've actually taken some of these cards. So we got the Drogskull Captain, we got the Geist of St. Traft, and I've combined it with a few other cards that I've sort of been enjoying with over the years. Some of the new Lord of the Rings cards as well. So we get Andriel, Flame of the West here, the Palantir, and a bunch of other cool stuff. And we're going to jump in and play a game online. And I'm going to talk about what I've been learning as I've come back to Magic, because like I say, I played back in 2011, I played it for many years, we took a big break, and we came back with the Lord of the Rings set, and there's been a lot of things that I have learned or sort of relearned that I want to share with you in today's video. Now, I do want to say before we go any further, this video is sponsored by Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast. If you guys want to pick up, whether it's Magic the Gathering Arena, you can play it for free. It's available on Android, PC, iOS. I'm playing on the Steam version right now, but if you do want to pick up a good old-fashioned physical pack, the best way to play Magic, I do think, is the physical version. But for the purposes of this video, we are going to be playing some Arena today. Anyway, consider checking out the link in the description down below for all of your Magic the Gathering needs. It does help out the stream, and thank you very much to Wizards for sponsoring this video. Now, one of the first things that I had to relearn when it comes to Magic the Gathering is how to make a deck and what sort of goes into a deck. And typically, you want to be looking for some creatures, because if you don't have any creatures, you don't really have a way to attack your opponent or defend from their creatures. You want to be looking for a little bit of card draw as well. For that, we have things like the Palantir of Orthanc. I've also got a Ristic Stydian here. And then we want a little bit of a controller interaction. And in my case, being a blue deck, we have a lot of counter spells because I'm very annoying. And to top it all out, a good amount of land as well. So one thing that's pretty cool when it comes to making a deck in Magic the Gathering Arena is it kind of helps you out a little bit. So we just go ahead and whip together a deck here. This one that I was making was Historic, and then we put this dude in here. It'll put some land to go along with it, and then if we decide we want to add in some red as well, so if we want to add in let's see, we'll go along here a little bit and add in Free From Flesh. It will also put in some mountains. So Magic the Gathering Arena gives you kind of a little bit of an idea of, how much land you want to be running. If you are somebody who's new to Magic or getting back into the game as well, one thing that is very, very useful is they do have a tutorial. So I believe we can click somewhere up here. I think it's the Codex of the Multiverse. And then there is the How to Play Quick Start. Not going to go through it here, or the replay tutorial rather. Really great way, really great way to learn to play the game. They do give you a lot of cards to play with for free as well. So highly recommend if you're somebody who's getting into Magic or getting back into Magic like myself. Arena can be a great way to sort of relearn the game. With that being said, that's enough blah blah blah, but let's actually go in and play around with this fun little Spirits deck, a blast from the past for me. We are going to be playing in a format called Historic. Another cool thing is they have a bunch of different formats within this game, including a new feature called Timeless, where you can play with like every single card that's basically ever been out. So that's kind of cool as well. But yeah, we're going to jump in with the Historic here, play the Spirits, and let's talk about what I'm doing as we go along. All right, so the game has found us an opponent here, and one of the first things coming back to Magic and as a new player is learning what to keep in the opening hand. So we've drawn 7 cards at random from our deck. Do we want to keep these? We've got 3 lands over here, and then we have mostly blue cards. So we could play this on turn 2. We don't have any planes though, so we have no way to pay the white mana for Geist of St. Traft. However, we do have 2 turns. On the second turn, we can play out this Supreme Phantom, so we have a creature. We do have a way to, if we get overwhelmed, return all creatures to their owner's hands. So I'm actually going to go ahead and keep with this. We have some options to play for card draw. We have a creature we can play out early. We're just hoping that we will draw into a planes, basically. But this is like the sort of initial thing that has come when getting back into the game, learning what to keep with at the start and what to throw back. So if this were all planes, for example, I would not keep it because there's barely anything I could play. But the fact that it's all islands actually not too bad. Opponent is also playing a blue deck. We have a Salamander Drake coming out. It's a 1/1. He can pay 8 mana to adapt it 4 times. And adapt says basically put lots of counters on it, so it becomes very big. Cost 1 less to activate from each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. So this tells me that he's probably playing a self-mill deck where he's going to be taking cards out of his library and putting them into the graveyard to make this ability cheaper. Anyway, we'll not keep him waiting too long because I'm just going to play on an island, and that's all I can do. Sadly, we didn't draw a plains. We drew the Drogskull Captain, which is a nice card, but we're still looking for that plains. It's going to attack me for 1. Nothing I can do about that. Nothing else from the opponent as well. Holding back the 2 cards could suggest he either has nothing to play or that he has some sort of counter spell. However, I think I'm just going to play into it because there's no real other options here. And I would rather have the creature counterspelled than the Ristic Study next turn, which is looking like it's going to be my option unless we can draw that white land, the plains that we want. So there's my Flying Spirit. Opponent's thinking about if he wants to counterspell it. There it is. So these are the sort of cues that I've been looking for. I've been paying attention to how much land does the opponent have out. You know, what are they kind of doing? Again, they held back some land here. This time they didn't play anything, so they might not just be like drawing anything here. We're going to move the camera up so you guys can sort of see what's going on with my situation over here as well. Still have not drawn at the plains here, unfortunately. Now, the Ristic Study is the only card in my deck. Now, I'm thinking, what are the chances that he has 2 counterspells in here? I think we're probably just going to go for it, because it is a really good card to get out. If he counterspells it, I'll be very sad, but we'll see what happens here. It is giving him the option to react, which suggests he does have something to do, and it's probably going to get counterspelled. Usually the thing that I'm doing. But we get them out the hand, which means that we can, you know, go in and actually play our creatures next turn. We've got a 3/3 big boy here, ready to go. So opponent's playing blue and green. Stuff with adapting here. So he has a 2/2 out now. And we have another... Oh, we finally drawn our plains. There we go. We got our plains here, so we can now play out a creature. When it enters the battlefield, top target creature an opponent controls, this creature doesn't untap. So next time this creature... So this has a tap ability on it, so we just tap it down. It's unlikely that he can counterspell it now. He's only got 2 cards left in his hand, so let's just go ahead and play this out. And then we can basically... Oh, no, maybe I spoke too soon. Another counterspell, perhaps? This guy's playing the bluest of blue decks. Okay, opponent thought about that one, by the looks of it. Yeah, there we go. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Okay, but he is pretty much all out of juice now, so unless he can draw a lot of cards... Although it's looking like bad for me, and you know, again, like an earlier Baggins would be panicking here. We know that he doesn't have a lot of stuff left in his hand. However, he does have now a 5/5 big creature, which is kind of scary, but we do have an option to tap that down. We do have our Dungeon Geist, and we are indeed going to go ahead and do that, because that's quite scary. Alternatively, we could send everything back to his hand, but I think it's better to just tap this down for now. We keep it tapped down, and then it won't untap, and he can't attack with it again, unless he can unsummon again. But then if he unsummons, I can just keep doing it, so we're not too bad. We just have to worry about the 2/2, which we can block with our 3/3. So things are looking okay for us for now. Okay, good to know. I wasn't entirely sure how that would work, if the adapt would remove the tap feature. It doesn't. He does have a very big, scary creature right now, but we're not dead yet. If he does untap it, though, we do want to make sure that we have a blocker, so we do need to play out a creature. We currently have 4 mana right now, so looking at our options here, we have 3 mana, we have 3 mana, we have 3 mana. They have 2 mana, which leaves us with 2 mana left. When it enters the battlefield, target instant or sorcery in your graveyard. I don't think I have any instants or sorcery, so that's not going to do anything. We will play out the Drogskull Captain here, because it gives other creatures you control hexproof. So this is... Hexproof is going to make it so they can't target my spirits with a spell, so he can't bounce this back. So it's going to be very hard for him to get it off the battlefield now. I'm not going to attack because I do want to leave a blocker open. But we're looking like we're in a pretty good spot here. This is the combo that I typically want to be doing here. Play a spirit, then play Drogskull Captain to protect the spirit. He's going to keep buffing that thing up, which is quite scary. However, we do have the Whelming Wave to send it back to his hand if we so wish. Now, unfortunately, we're not drawing any land here. So I think we're just going to keep on playing out some creatures. Or we could play out our sword here. I think we have the freedom to play out the sword, and then we can equip it to our creature next turn. Alternatively, we just do nothing, and then we do have some counter spells open here. I think we do nothing. And in an interesting move, we're going to choose to do nothing, except attack him in the face. We're not going to attack with the 4/4 creature because I want to make sure that can block his 2/2. So a Baggins of the past who was learning magic might have attacked with both these creatures here, but we do want to make sure that we leave something open to block his creatures because he's got me down to like half our starting HP here. Things are looking a little bit scary. Another Baggins of the past as well might be keen to play a creature out here, but I am going to leave some options. So he's trying to draw 2 cards. I don't really want him to do that. So I'm going to say you don't get to do that, basically. There we are. He has to pay 4, but he only has 3 mana, so he can't do that. We don't want him drawing cards because he doesn't have a lot in his hand. We want to keep him in this sort of controlled state, and it's looking pretty good for us. And then what I'm thinking now is we can then pay this 2 mana here. Flash means we can play this creature on our opponent's turn, so we can then get that card back into my hand. So he's going to continue doing his thing where he makes this really big and scary. But as long as it stays tapped, we're okay. As long as he doesn't have some way to sacrifice that creature and have it do damage to me based on the sacrifice. Now, before we play the creature, we're just going to see if he has anything else to do. He is passing the turn to me, so before I end the turn, and this is something that has taken me a little while to learn, is make sure that we've seen everything our opponent can do, just in case he does like a kill all creatures, because then we can play this creature after he destroys everything. So playing at like the last moment often seems to be the best way to do things usually in Magic. So now we can get that card back into our hand, and then we get to begin our turn. Now, unfortunately, we're not drawing any land, but we're still managing to make it work here. Again, we're debating what we're going to go and attack with here. So we do have a 2/1 now to block his 2/2. So I think to that extent, we can start putting on some pressure here and attack him with our 6 creatures. Now, again, we're not playing anything just yet, just in case he has some sort of response to bounce creatures back. Now, our options here, we can play out a creature, we can play out the sword, or we can play out the Snapcaster Mage here. Target instant or sorcery gains flashback until end of turn. So yeah, I think what we'll do is, again, we'll pass the turn. Even though there's cards we can play, we're in a position where we're winning. We just want to make sure our opponent can't really do anything. So I can get that card back into my hand if I do the old Snapcaster. And then we can bring back the Lofty Denial and play it that same turn. He does have a lot of cards, however. Yeah, return all non-land target permanents to their owner's hand. So we're super glad that we can do this here. We also do have the Geistlight Snare as well, which might be the better play here. But this is flashier, so I'm going to do this. We give a card in our graveyard flashback. We're going to choose this, of course. And then we're going to play that and say, no. Oh, this is just how I remember playing things back in the day. This is awesome. And at this point, it would be my housemate, and they would probably concede because they were very angry at me. This is great. And if you can do that again, if he has another way to return all the creatures back to my hand so he can attack, we have another counter spell. So even though the opponent did a lot of counter spells at the start, mine are getting like more value, if that makes sense. We finally found a land, which is great. I'm thinking though, we should just continue to keep some mana open. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can spend 3 on this and then leave 2 open for the counter spell. Let's do that. And we're going to start really putting on the pressure now. We'll leave 1 creature back to block it just in case something scary happens. But it's looking pretty good for us here. We're going to be hitting him for 8 damage right now. And then next turn we win, provided our opponent can't do anything. We still have some mana open for the counterspell. Opponent doesn't have any mana. He's got 1 card in his hand. He is going to go for the block. But we still kill him next turn. Does he draw something good, or do we win? Sure, you can have that, my friend. Now, again, an older version of me might have said counterspell to that just to be a bit of you know, annoying. But we'll be sensible here. Still has 5 mana and 1 more card. There we go. This is what we want to make sure we counterspell here. So, search your library under a graveyard for a creature card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield. So he's searching his library for a big card. And I'm afraid, my friends, I am also going to be saying no to that. And I believe this to be a good game. I'll play at my land. And I think we can even go for our sword here as well, just for some flashiness. We'll put it on Drog Skull. Probably would have been better to put it on one of the hexproof spirits, actually, and then we'll attack with everything. Make a lot of stuff. And win the game. Yeah, we definitely should have put the sword onto Geist of St. Traft, because it would have summoned some more spirits, but... There it is, friends. A quick demonstration of some learnings that we've been making in Magic the Gathering Arena. Basically holding back resources, not over-investing, waiting to see what the opponent's going to do, trying to sort of think about, you know, the structure, like, oh, okay, they're playing these cards, what could happen, thinking about the card advantage and stuff like that. It's these sort of things that I've been learning as I come back into the game, and, you know, we've been applying this in real-life Magic. We went to a draft for the Wilds of Eldraine set. Actually, it was the pre-release, and we managed to come, I think it was second in the pre-release, so... Yeah, I don't know if any of this information has helped you guys, but I do enjoy some Magic. It does feel like it's just a game where you can really employ that, like, 200 IQ Gigabrain. It's such a fun game, and there's just levels and levels and levels to it. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you check out the link in the description down below. Thank you so much again to Wizards for sponsoring this video. It's been a blast playing some Magic the Gathering. I'm loving getting back into the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and as always, I'll see you all in the next video.